COVID-19 state government told to accord more priority to patients to prevent escape and complaints in isolation camps.
We urge all state governments to continue to pay attention to the welfare of people in isolation.
Bank attracts attention of Mr. President. More steps by state governors to restrict movement along their boundaries.
They are not complying anything because it's not what we expected.
Hello, thanks for joining us on the news at 9. I am Joseph Johnson. State governments have been urged to take the welfare and security of COVID-19 patients seriously in order to avoid cases of escape and restiveness. Chairman of the task force and Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, said this at the daily briefing in Abuja. Mitari Ikban reports.
Reports from various
breaches of basic guidelines to contain the spread of coronavirus among Nigerians remain on the front burner.
Increasing level of abuse of exemption granted to vehicles conveying specific goods. Reports across the country show that they continue to hide passengers with the intention of ferrying them across state boundaries. Continual transportation of the almajiris across state borders is still evident. We implore all Nigerians to alert the security agencies whenever they witness the violation of these guidelines.
Every business should invest a little bit in hand-washing facilities and sanitizers.
With recent reports of protests in some isolation camps, the PTF called for greater vigilance.
We urge all state governments to continue to pay attention to the welfare of people in isolation and for security agencies to provide adequate security around such facilities to prevent escape.
On the 14-day compulsory isolation for the first batch of Nigerian returnees in the country, the Minister of Health says
they will be tested, and any person tested positive shall be transferred to a treatment center.
We are hoping to have another flight coming in from the UK. They'll be landing in Lagos first, that's the plan, and then we'll be ferried to Abuja.
The task force frowned at reports of continued harassment and denial of access to journalists as essential workers during curfew hours.
The issue of harassment of journalists, yes, we are having a meeting of the security chiefs tomorrow. I have already reached out to the IG and I'll try and see if we can get him so that before the meeting he's aware of the issues and he'll be able to intervene.
I promised that I was going to contact the Lagos State Commissioner of Police. I took up the issue of the harassment with him. He recognizes the fact that journalists are on essential duties and that every support will be given to them in the course of their duties.
Meanwhile, the Federal Ministry of Health has stepped up training of health workers in the country to stem the risk of infection among medical personnel caring for coronavirus patients. In Abuja, Mitari Ikben, NTA News.
Let's now give you a global update on coronavirus pandemic. Over to Adebola Brookson in Sunday.
Data released by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control shows that Nigeria now has 3,145 confirmed cases of coronavirus disease. Out of this figure, 534 persons have been discharged, while 103 fatalities have been recorded. Currently, Lagos, Kano, Borno, Gombe states and the Federal Capital Territory are top in the table, while Niger, Benue, Imo, Abia, and Anambra states are at the bottom of the charts. Tally by the Africa Center for Disease Control and Prevention of COVID-19 dashboard shows that Africa has now reported more than 51,698 cases of coronavirus across the continent, 2,012 deaths, while 17,590 have recovered from the illness. Tally from Johns Hopkins University has it that South Africa, Egypt, Morocco, and Algeria are on the top of the ladder, while the mountainous kingdom of Lesotho is the only African country that has not reported a single case of the virus. Globally, there are 3,852,745 persons infected with COVID-19, 266,077 deaths, and 1,317,148 recoveries as at 6:50 p.m. Nigerian time on Worldometer. The United Nations is issuing a new appeal for $4.7 billion funding to protect millions of lives and stem the spread of coronavirus in fragile countries. The funds are to be used to buy medical equipment to test and treat the sick, with priority for some 20 countries, including Afghanistan, Syria, Liberia, Pakistan, the Philippines, and Zimbabwe. I'm Adebola, Brooklyn Sunday. Thanks for your time.
The United Nations Women has donated over 38 million naira to the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs as support to Nigerian women who are worst hit by the effects of the lockdown. Momsodemi Dati captured their presentation at Women Ministry headquarters in Abuja.
The Ministry of Women Affairs is opening its gates after the long compulsory lockdown break. Activities are gradually picking up, and the first callers to the ministry are the United Nations women.
No longer in the shadow, cause to stay behind.
Open gates later led to wide smiles, as they did not come empty-handed, but with some monetary support for Nigerian women who was hit by the effects of the lockdown.
Frontline services in Lagos, for example, have reported a 300% increase in gender-based violence cases from March to April. So in view of some of these challenges being faced by women, hope that the support will meet the immediate needs of up to 12,600 vulnerable women and girls.
The Minister of Women Affairs, Paul Ntallen, is appreciative of the gesture, promising equitable distribution among women across the 36 states.
We continue to appreciate and work together to see that Nigerian women are well cared for. These palliatives and whatever we are reaching out to, the poorest of the poor, those who live on daily business to earn their living.
38,453,660 naira is the support received. In Abuja, Momsodemi Dati, NTA News.
The Emir of Kano, Alhaji Aminu Ado Bayero, has advised residents of Kano to adhere to the stipulated guidelines on personal hygiene to prevent the spread of coronavirus in the state, from washing of hands with soap and water, the use of hand sanitizers, and he urged the people to observe social distancing in public places in order to stay safe.
We are again calling on our people to realize that this COVID-19 pandemic is real and it has spread to various places in the state. People should realize and understand that everybody has a role to play through active participation on the need to take necessary measures for controlling the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. Parents and community leaders must continue to remind the youth, particularly those engaging in playing football and other games on the streets, to desist from such acts which are detrimental to their health and lives. Other people who are in the habit of roaming about without cogent reasons must, I repeat, must stop and stay at home.
While acknowledging the role of frontline workers in the fight against the pandemic, the Emir also appreciated all those who have provided palliatives to the state and prayed for the blessings of their efforts from Almighty Allah. The federal government has deployed a technical committee to facilitate the movement of foodstuff and other agricultural produce amidst the Interstate's boundary movement restriction order. The committee in Sokoto State is headed by the State Commissioner of Police, Ibrahim Sani Kauji. Abdurrahman Usman Jubilia reports.
The committee was put in place to ensure compliance with measures put in place by government on interstate movement restriction and ensure free movement of agricultural products, especially foodstuffs, in line with NCDC guidelines. The technical committee headed by Sokoto State Police Commissioner supervised the Sokoto-Zamfara State boundary to ensure compliance with the directives.
In order to have an easy passage of agricultural products and foodstuffs, so that's why this committee is inaugurated.
The drivers of the vehicle that are passed also need to be screened. They do temperature screening them before passing.
The interstate movement restriction and the free movement of agricultural produce is worsened by the activities of dubious people, which necessitated the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development to come up with the committee to tackle possible challenges.
What we are emphasizing on is that we don't allow any of these trucks to come with any passenger because they are not allowed to move with anybody.
Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission in Sokoto has supported the Sokoto State government with 20 vehicles to be used in the fight against COVID-19 in the state. The vehicles are to be used in conveying, logistics, and other services. In Sokoto, Abraham Usman Jibrila, NTA News.
President Muhammad Buhari and the Prime Minister of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, Mr. Imran Khan, this Thursday afternoon had a telephone conversation on the global initiative on debt relief canvassed by leaders of the non-aligned movement during an online summit held on Monday. A statement signed by the special advisor to the president on media and publicity notes that leaders of the 120-nation organization, the largest after the United Nations, had agreed that a debt relief campaign be launched for developing countries to deal with the coronavirus pandemic and unprecedented health and socio-economic challenges facing most of them. And President Muhammad Buhari has congratulated the President of the African Development Bank, Nigeria's Hakimi Adesina, over the clean bill of health given him by Board of Directors of the bank. A report signed by the Chairman Bureau of the Board of Governors, Niale Kaba, indicated the exoneration of Dr. Adesina of all allegations against him by whistleblowers. The allegations, the report says, were thoroughly investigated by the Ethics Committee of the Board of Directors and a recommendation made to the Board of Governors of the financial institution as well as the African Development Fund. In the report, the Bureau is of the view that its conclusions be adopted on the basis of the results by declaring Dr. Adesina totally exonerated of all allegations made against him. President Buhari, in a statement issued by his special advisor on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, lauded the AFDB president for serving the African continent well and making his motherland proud. The Nigerian leader wishes Dr. Adesina greater successes in the position of responsibility he occupies. In the meantime, President Muhammad Buhari has approved the immediate dissolution of the interim management team of Bank of Agriculture. Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development announced this in a statement in Abuja. In a letter to the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, President Buhari approved the appointment of Alwan Ali Hassan as an acting managing director for the Bank of Agriculture. Alwan Hassan hails from Kano State and holds a master's degree in business administration. He has served on the management boards of Central Orient Bank, Uganda Bank of PHB in the Gambia, and Platinum Capital and Trust Limited, Nigeria. Well, do stay with us here on NTA Network News. We are back in just a moment.
I wish to once again commend the frontline workers across the country who, on a daily basis, risk everything to ensure we win this fight. For those who got infected in the line of duty, rest assured that government will do all it takes to support you and your families during this exceedingly difficult period. I will also take this opportunity to assure you all that your safety, well-being, and welfare remains paramount to our government. I am using this opportunity to express our deepest condolences to the families of all Nigerians that have lost their loved ones as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is our collective loss, and we share your grief.
Mama, Uncle Kim just called me. His wife just gave birth. Hey! If we not be God, though, now who go do am? Now who go do am? I thank God. Boy or girl?
I was too excited to ask. Let me get my phone and call him. Mama, it's a... Mama, what's wrong?
So, I no fit see my grandpikin now as dem do obodo oyibo.
Mama, I have a surprise that will cheer you up.
Introducing Sunday Data Plan. Enjoy Sunday browsing. 200 Naira gets you a whopping 1.25 gigabytes. Glow Unlimited.
This is to say a big thank you to all the healthcare workers who put their lives on the line, working in all the 36 states of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, especially Lagos, Kano, Ogun, and Abuja, to ensure that we beat COVID-19 in the least possible time. Thank you so much. You are our superheroes. This message is from the Governor's Wives Forum, the wife of the Vice President and the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
To me, to you, it's up to us to make the world a better place. A place where we can learn, where we can dance, where we can live together in peace and harmony. It's up to me, to you. It's up to us to make the world a better place. To me, to you.
Stay indoors, wash your hands regularly, stay safe and stay healthy. Indomie noodles, tasty nutrition, good for you.
Disinfect and protect your home with Jik. Jik kills 99.9% of illness-causing germs. Disinfect floors, kitchen and bathroom surfaces, and wash white clothes, towels, and dishcloths with Jik bleach. Just Jik it. Disinfect and protect your home with Jik. Jik kills 99.9% of illness-causing germs. Disinfect floors, kitchen and bathroom surfaces, and wash white clothes, towels, and dishcloths with Jik bleach. Just Jik it.
25th February 2020, Nigeria. It is real. It is a nightmare. It is killing people all over the world. It is COVID-19. Compliance with the various states in Nigeria, the current measures will flatten the curves. Shutting down is not an act of wickedness, but an act to save lives. Stay home, stay safe. Observe social distance. Always put on a face mask while leaving your house. Make sure you are on a tricycle alone. Cars and buses cannot carry more than half their passengers. Always remember to wash your hands. Together, we will defeat COVID-19. This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, Nigerian Film Corporation, powering possibilities. The number of the COVID-19 cases in Nigeria is increasing daily, with many more tests ongoing. The battle of testing, isolating, treating, and attending to the affected persons rests heavily on the shoulders of our health workers, constantly putting their lives on the line and at risk to contain this virus, save and protect the lives of millions of Nigerians. To these health workers, we at the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, on behalf of millions of Nigerians, say a big thank you for all that you have done and are doing. To the security agencies enforcing the lockdown and every other frontliner, we say thank you for putting your lives on the line to save ours. There is no amount of words that can quantify our gratitude. Thank you. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Glad to have you back. The presidency has made formal clarification on the recent appointment of Mansuru Ahmed on the Board of Trustees of the Police Trust Fund. A statement by Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, explained that Mansuru Ahmed is actually to represent the organized private sector and not organized labor, as inadvertently announced. Mr. Ahmed, being Executive Director, Dangote Group and President, Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, couldn't have been announced representing the organized labor. The inadvertence is regretted. Now, it's the fourth day since the federal government relaxed the lockdown in the FCT, Lagos and Ogun states, and activities in some of the sectors are gradually picking up. What is the situation in the FCT? Kunle Adeyeye takes the story from here.
This is one of the financial institutions at Area 3 in the Federal Capital Territory. The reason for the crowd can be understood. After 5 weeks of lockdown, customers must have issues that need to be resolved, but this is a total contrast to safety precautions given by the federal government for easing the lockdown, a situation bank customers described as unfortunate.
What I'm seeing is to me is an eyesore, It's actually defeating the aim which the government has said social distancing should be met.
It was a different scenario at another commercial bank at Area 8.
I must commend the bank for complying with the federal government directives. Operation India has been wonderful. People are actually complying to social distance.
The Wuse bus stop is another flashpoint that came alive on Thursday.
But we are maintaining the social distancing. You can still look at my vehicle. It's just one at the front and two at the back. And you must fix your nose mask. If not, we will not allow you to enter.
Time will tell if the ease on restriction will continue, since the level of compliance with the federal government guidelines would be assessed soon before further pronouncements. In Abuja, Kunle Adeyeye, NTA News.
And the interstate border closure measure by the government to stem the spread of coronavirus is faced with challenges at the Delta-Anambra main border. Kelvin Ugbeche was at the Niger Bridge and now tells us more.
Traffic mounts at both ends of the bridge, with drivers of heavy duty and other vehicles trying to gain entrance into Delta or Anambra states through the bridge and miss checkpoints.
They block all the time because of too much gathering. So they block Delta so that there will not be hold up on the bridge. This bridge is very weak now.
I entered the hold up today after 5:30 yesterday evening.
Been in this go-slow for more than 4 hours. To come into the bridge, 4 hours.
Why?
Because of the hold up.
Many passengers are forced to walk the length of the Niger Bridge before boarding intrastate vehicles.
You have to use your leg. And walking down from that place to cover up this head bridge is something else.
Motorcyclists and tricyclists make brisk businesses ferrying passengers across the Niger Bridge. To avoid overcrowding of the bridge by pedestrians, security operatives force them to use the walkway.
They are not complying anything because it's not what we expected. Because what the weight of the people, the human being is more than the motor now.
However, with this situation, it seems the interstate border closure enforcement is not yielding the desired results. In Asaba, Kelvin Ugbeche, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Ekiti State is strictly complying with the interstate boundary lockdown announced by President Buhari as agreed by the state governors. Yemid Alamo monitors the compliance with the directive in this report.
The boundary closure with neighboring state directed by President Muhammadu Buhari in agreement with the state governors is effectively implemented in Ekiti State as the boundaries are effectively being manned by security personnel. A visit to the boundary between Ekiti and Ondo State in Iju-Ikere-Ekiti axis revealed compliance with this directive. Before they allow anybody into the state, they conduct tests to ascertain their health status so as to ensure that coronavirus is not imported again into the state. Other boundary areas linking Ekiti with Kogi, Osun and Kwara State in Omo, F1 Lai and Moba were also being manned with security operatives who are working with the state government task force. The officials not only prevent unauthorized travelers, they also conduct examinations on the drivers on essential duties.
But since the governor told them that whoever they impound the motor will be the state government motor, so they have started complying. No one come from Akure except essential workers.
By this time of yesterday, we were in Ilejemeje to move all that borders down and all the remote villages. So we've tried a lot and people are complying.
This is the time that people have to sit up and comply with the government.
Most major interstate motor parks are devoid of activities, while the roads linking Ekiti with other states are also free of vehicular movement, except those on essential services. In Ado-Ekiti, Yemidalimo, NTA News.
Managing COVID-19 patients require use of several medical equipment, and these items become infectious afterwards. For safe disposal of infectious wastes, the Federal Ministry of Environment is building the capacity of environmental health officers to adequately discharge this task. Onengie Fineface reports.
Increasing cases of fatalities from COVID-19 has given rise to the adoption of innovative protocols to manage deaths and medical waste associated with the virus. Now, this training is an initiative put up by the Federal Ministry of Environment to build the capacity of environmental officers to adequately dispatch their duties in managing medical waste in the country.
I also expect this training program to equip the environmental health officers with essential infection prevention and control skills and precautionary measures in supporting environmental health response.
The officers will also be the ones responsible for the evacuation and safe burials of deaths caused by COVID-19 in the country.
Because according to the WHO statement, anything that is not supposed to be used is a waste. So the dead body and the cadaver is also a waste, which require a WHO protocol to be implemented for the burial to be done in a dignified way.
Participants at the training are expected to take knowledge garnered to their colleagues in other locations across the country to ensure that COVID-19 cases are properly managed in Abuja. Onengie Fineface, NTA News.
All the inmates of the isolation centers in Gombe State who broke out of isolation in protest have been returned to the center. Emmanuel Akila reports that the task on the hand of the task force on COVID-19 in the state is stressing those who had contacts with the protesters to prevent further spread of the virus.
On Tuesday, the 4th of May 2020, people who tested positive for COVID-19 and have been isolated willfully came out of their isolation centers in protest, where some members of the host community came out and joined the protesters in what they call solidarity. Having brought the situation under control, the government now fortifies the centers with more security, while frontline health and other personnel involved in curtailing the spread of the coronavirus pandemic swung into contact tracing to avoid community transmission of the virus.
The situation as of now is quite calm. The issues raised by the cases on isolation were largely addressed. Most of them were basically issues around welfare within the isolation facility, and I think think the most significant part of it was the woman that they reported who had an injection abscess, and that the general aura of the place was kind of smelly. And they requested that we should come and evacuate the lady. And we responded immediately.
Some of the measures by the government to curtail spread of the coronavirus pandemic was the engagement of traditional rulers, religious leaders, and civil society organizations to enlighten the people on observing social distancing, hand washing, use of sanitizers, and other ways of preventing spread of the COVID-19. For now, only the isolation centers have patients, as there is none among those that tested positive have begun exhibiting COVID-19 symptoms. In Gombe, Emmanuel Akila, NTA News.
Dettol, a global hygiene brand, has donated its antiseptic liquid and antibacterial soap to the Kano State government to assist the most vulnerable groups in the state as government battles to contain the spread of COVID-19. Kenneth Nanim reports.
Dettol, through its National Customer Care Relations Initiative on Good Hygiene Habit, has been in the forefront of sensitization programs to curb the spread of COVID-19 in Nigeria by donating a variety of its hygiene products to some states in the country. This global hygiene brand has also extended the gesture to the Kano State government by donating its hygiene products to aid the fight against coronavirus pandemic. Chairman, Kano State Fundraising Committee, Professor Mohammed Yahuza Bello, commended Dettol Nigeria. He says the items would be judiciously distributed to 50,000 households of the most vulnerable across the 44 local government areas of the state, starting from the 8th local government of Kano Metropoli. The General Manager RB Health Nigeria, Dayanand Siraram, says RB has a critical role to play in promoting hygiene in the fight against coronavirus pandemic in Nigeria through the provision of products that can break the chain of infection. He urged Nigerians to always maintain personal hygiene protocol as prescribed by the Federal Ministry of Health and the NCDC, while pledging support to the health authorities to eradicate the pandemic. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Federal government inaugurates task team to ensure interstate movement of agri-produce. Dotun is standing by in Lagos for details of this and much more. Dotun.
Thank you, Joseph. The federal government has inaugurated a joint technical task team on the emergency response to COVID-19 and the challenges of moving agricultural produce across the country. Correspondent reports that the Lagos State chapter of the team will be headed by the Commissioner of Police. Restrictions have become the order of the day in light of COVID-19 pandemic. Though the lockdown has been eased off in Lagos, Ogun and the FCT, other strict guidelines are in place, including a daily curfew from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. However, owing to the perishable nature of several food items, the federal government, through the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, has directed that henceforth food, livestock and agricultural inputs are to move unhindered across state borders without compromising the health and security of the nation.
The committee is never inaugurated.
To achieve this is now the task before members of the newly inaugurated technical team, who have been given 4 major terms of reference.
So where there are issues with those bringing the livestock in now, it's not the responsibility of this team to interface with those government officials, government agencies, or the companies that all this have been franchised to.
What we want to achieve is that farmers should get their products to the markets. If they want to have anything to take to the farm for their production, they should have easy movement.
Members of the team are drawn from the NURTW, NATO, NUJ, Farmers Association, the Civil Defense and the police.
And especially we are calling on the government now to have a storage facility now. This is a very crucial time of which we should have most of all this thing, what we are doing or produce in stock.
The police commissioner, however, says that all food and livestock carrying trucks that are coming into the state must not carry more than 7 persons, including the drivers, as the police have been mandated to ensure strict compliance by the state government. The first batch of Nigerians stranded abroad due to the global lockdown caused by coronavirus pandemic have arrived the country from the United Arab Emirates. The 256 returnees were received by officials of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control at the international wing of the Murtala Mohammed Airport, Lagos. Abalade Salami reports.
Like conventional operations, the returnees were subjected to compulsory checks by port health workers, the immigration and security agents. In spite of certifying their health status, the country is not taking chances. Arrangements have been made for compulsory self-isolation for a period of 14 days.
In line with the existing protocol, before anybody could be allowed to come to the country, they had all to be tested. And information we had that they are all tested negative. So that's why they have been taken to the isolation center for the existing protocol that we have in the country.
Although journalists were not granted access to the returnees, but the look from their faces depicts joy, hope and satisfaction of returning to their motherland. Officials from the Nigerian Diaspora Commission said their documents and health reports were processed before departing United Arab Emirates, but that will not stop them from complying with the Presidential Task Force Directive on isolation.
It's what the NCDC requires. It's what the Presidential Task Force on the COVID-19 is part of the requirement. It's part of the Lagos State requirement. So ensuring extra layer of safety is not far-fetched.
More Nigerians who have signaled their intention to return to the country due to the coronavirus will be arriving from the United Kingdom and United States of America in the coming days. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
And that's it from here. Network News continues after the break.
Stay home data plan. All existing Glow customers now enjoy up to 20% more data. Glow Unlimited.
Our smiles have never been so uncertain. This weekend that seems to regenerate. We never imagined missing the music of our office printer. That time stopped does not mean our stories have. We are the brave ones that set aside self-interest for a common goal. One day, we will toast to this bravery in our favorite restaurants. Arm in arm, we will sing at every concert and never skip a beat. One day, we will reclaim our streets from the wildings that have borrowed it. Take back our fields from the bush that have rented it. We will discover new places. The grey clouds will roll away, and the sun will shine. Together, we will beat this and rebuild our economy. Till then, hold your position and stay safe.
What we are really cultivating here is a better future for all Nigerian women, and it's not always easy. Panadol Extra relieves headache, backache, joint pain, toothache, and menstrual pain. The pain is worth it.
As you can see, I'm at home. I'm reading a book. When I get bored, I watch movies. Life has not stopped. Together we can beat this thing. All we have to do is make sure we do the necessary things, which is wash our hands, use a hand sanitizer frequently, wash your hands with soap. Please avoid crowded environments, crowded places. If you must head out maybe to get groceries, use the face mask. So please stay safe, stay responsible, and stay at home.
GoTV
dey your side as times dey tough so. We don see your loyalty and we appreciate the journey wey we don waka together. That na why GoTV dey sama you with better upgrade to the next package as you stay connected or reconnect. We dey your side with correct entertainment. You fit save up to 75% because na we. Na to stay connected or reconnect, GoTV go upgrade you at no extra cost. Wow! Stay connected with GoTV self-service payment options. Visit gotvafrica.com to gather more information about this better discount and our payment options. GoTV dey your side. Enjoy GoTV Wow Awoof. GoTV. Live it. Love it.
Alpha, say tomorrow still day on.
What's your tomorrow?
Community meeting now.
You know they here, Abi?
Now beggy. See, if we meet for my house, inside parlor, then go no.
This COVID-19 is not a child's play.
If you want to elect a new secretary, we fit
do one for WhatsApp or for Skype or even on Zoom. Or we just wait.
I will not negotiate
this social distancing. It is non-negotiable.
Not every infected person shows symptoms, but every infected person is contagious. Avoid large gatherings and self-isolate if you think you might have come in contact with a carrier. Your safety and the safety of others is in your hands.
This message is from the Akinfade Foundation in partnership with the National Orientation Agency with support from MacArthur Foundation.
Thanks for staying with us. Sokoto State Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal is live via Skype. Let's get to meet him now. Governor, you're welcome to NTA Network News.
Thank you very much, my brother, for having me.
Okay, so let's start with this trending story about the fact that there are about 100 deaths in a day recorded in your state. How do you react to that?
Well, that is the figment of imagination of those who have been spreading that fake news using online medium. We, after the break of that news, double-checked and cross-checked with all our cemeteries and realized that there was no such a number. But definitely, of course, Sokoto is a big city with about 2 million people. So we have been recorded some death. And of course, we have established registers in all of our cemeteries for recording death, names of the personality that is dead, and the cause of the death, so that we can keep record and tracking of the actual numbers of people that are dying in the capital and outside the capital.
Okay, it's quite a bit difficult to get to hear you, I guess, because of the face mask, Governor. But let's get to talk about your state's capacity for response to COVID-19.
Well, we are doing our very best. We have expanded our capacity of our infectious disease hospital in Amanawa from 100-bed capacity. We are working on making it 200 beds, and we are also converting some of our health facilities, like the occupational therapy center that we have, where we have 40 beds, and we have received a donation of a clinic from the Catholic Church, 20-bed facility, and also the Murtala Mohammed Specialist Hospital, 32 beds, and of course the Usman Nafud University Hospital, where we have 20 beds for isolation. We are also working, if it becomes necessary, towards donating our hotels, state-owned hotels of Giginya Hotel, Shukura Hotel, where we have about 250 put together bed capacity. So in total in Sokoto, we are working towards having about 560 bed capacity for COVID-19 patients. And currently we have only about 85 confirmed cases. And of course, because today we have 4 more new cases. And active cases are 78. We have 3 discharged, and then about 8 of them died. In total, so far, for Sokoto State, 238 people have been tested.
All right, thank you, Governor. Just before I let you go, what would you appeal, or what are your words? What's your appeal to the people of Sokoto State?
We should continue to observe the protocols by the World Health Organization, social distancing, using the face mask. We are acquiring 2 million face masks. We have started acquiring them and distributing them to the general public. And we should continue with the washing of our hands as prescribed by the World Health Organization protocol. We are working with UNICEF and RWASA to establish some very convenient places of hand washing in public places, in our places of worship, so that people can continue to observe all of those protocols as prescribed by the World Health Organization, Federal Ministry of Health, and our own State Ministry of Health.
Thank you very much, Governor Tambuwal, for speaking with us on NTA Network News.
Thank you very much.
All right, I've been speaking with, of course, the Governor of Sokoto State, Aminu Tambuwal. Let's bring you more stories now. Kano State government has discharged 16 more COVID-19 patients from its facilities after they tested negative for the virus. A statement by the Commissioner for Information, Malam Mohammed Garba, indicates that a total number of discharged patients in the state is now 22. He says among the discharged patients were Professor Abdulrazak Garba Habib of the Department of Medicine, Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital, Bayero University, Kano, who is also the co-chair State Task Force on COVID-19, as well as Dr. Aminu Ibrahim Saniawa, the State Commissioner for Health. The Commissioner pointed out that all the patients have tested negative for the disease after the 2 follow-up tests and have therefore reached full recovery. He advised the public to continue to observe the strictest personal hygiene through regular hand washing, use of face masks and social distancing. In continuation of ongoing offensive operations on Islamic State of West Africa Province, ISWAP, the Multinational Joint Task Force, MNJTF, and other coalition members, including Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole and the Nigerian Air Force, have neutralized about 48 ISWAP fighters and destroyed their camps at Dumba and location Charlie on the fringes of the Lake Chad in the early hours of Tuesday, May 5, 2020. The joint interdiction missions, which set ISWAP elements in disarray, were conducted in 2 waves of bomb and rocket strikes, leading to the neutralization of several of the terrorists. Similarly, some ISWAP elements that had attacked a Nigerian army base near Difa in Niger Republic were tracked and subsequently interdicted, leading to the death of several terrorists as well as the destruction of their vehicles and equipment. The Nigerian Air Force says the MNJTF will be unrelenting in efforts to track and hunt down terrorist groups within the Lake Chad Basin, as it will continue to apply both kinetic and non-kinetic means against the terrorists until they are completely degraded. The MNJTF appreciates the invaluable contributions of allied partners and urge the local population to be supportive of the task force in achieving operational objectives. Let's just take a short break now. We are back shortly.
Make your home the place to be with GoTV's super cool kids channels. That sounds fun. From funky friends that'll keep even the little ones busy. Alright everybody, let's do this! To learn as you watch educational shows for curious young minds. You can do some amazing things. There's plenty for everyone. Tune in to our kids shows and get everything you need to keep the kids entertained and learning the fun way. GoTV, live it, love it.
In this time of despair, our country, Nigeria, needs us now more than ever. We stand a chance to save our great country, Nigeria. A chance to rise up from this pandemic stronger and better. What will be the gain if we do not learn from other countries and observe the lockdown to stop the further spread of the virus? If we loosen our guards and allow this virus doom our very existence, then what have we gained? This is the call to every Nigerian to unite as one and stop the spread of this deadly virus. Stay at home and stay safe. Remember, the virus doesn't move unless we move. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network. There is a lot of fake news and report circulating, especially on social media, on the coronavirus. Do not believe or partake in the spread of these fake reports. If it is not on the official website or news from the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, disregard such report. Only together can we beat this virus. Only together can we overcome this pandemic. Follow the instructions and guidelines provided to combat this virus. Most importantly, stay at home. Self-isolate, regardless of your status. The virus doesn't move unless we move. Let us work together to better Nigeria. Together, we can do this. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Communities in some frontline local governments in Katsina State are becoming increasingly frustrated and agitated by the activities of bandits in their area. Governor Aminu Bello Masari made the statement while discussing with the Chief of Defense Training and Operations, Major General Leo Irabo, at Government House, Katsina. The governor explained that it is lamentable what the ordinary citizen in local governments bordering the forests are facing through banditry and other heinous crimes. Correspondent Muhammad Salisu Awal reports that the governor said in the villages the situation is not about coronavirus but bandit virus. He says 2 weeks ago over 50 people were lost in the 5 frontline local governments, saying the attacks were happening on a daily basis. Earlier, the Chief of Defense Training and Operations, Major General Leo Irabo, told Governor Masari that he was in Katsina following the alarming reports at the defense headquarters on the resurgence of banditry in the Rugo forest. He assured that the military would step up operations to bring the situation under control. A former Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Abuja, Justice Dahiru Saleh, is dead. He died at the age of 81. Justice Dahiru Saleh died in Bauchi and has since been buried according to Islamic rites in Azare earlier today. The late Motanwaleng Katagum Emirate was an erudite jurist who served meritoriously before retiring from service. The death has been announced of a one-time General Manager NTA Brenin Kebbi Malam Danjuma Ladan. He died this morning in Bauchi after a protracted illness. Malam Ladan was Manager News NTA Gombe and Assistant Director News NTA Kaduna Zonal Center, from where he was redeployed as General Manager NTA Brenin Kebbi. He died at the age of 66, leaving behind his wife, 7 children and many grandchildren. He has since been buried according to Islamic rites. And the remains of one of Nigeria's music icons and high love mastery, Sir Dr. Victor Olaiya, has been laid to rest. The burial was privately conducted at Ikoyi Vaults and Gardens with just a sizable number of family members and clerics, in line with the COVID-19 burial guidelines by the federal and Lagos state government. Let's just quickly take a look at the weather prospect for tomorrow, Friday. And that's NTA Network News for tonight. Thanks for watching. I'm Joseph Johnson. Good night.